Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining. Sunil here. Welcome to this session. In this session, we will learn about self-closing tag, how to create a hyperlink using anchor tag, which is very frequently used job. Table tag is used whenever you want to represent the data in the form of table. Input tag, label tag. Input tag is used to accept the value from the user. And then I just want to give you a small, introduction to style sheet. Okay. So because the next part after HTML is a style sheet. So I will give you a small idea on how to create a style sheet. And the most important thing is how to link the style sheet to the HTML page and the importance of division tag. So these are all very, very important points to be discussed. As usual, my dear participants, before moving on, any questions on the concepts, what we have discussed in our previous session, please raise your hand. I hope you're doing practicing. We have learned the introduction to HTML. It's a markup language. HTML is having two parts, HTML head, body. We have paragraph tag, we have image tag, bold, italics, isn't it? So we have learned for HTML head and HTML body, how to use title tag and how to embed an image. Any questions on the concept? The beginning sessions are looks to be a little bit easy, but they're very important. These are very strong foundation steps if you want to become a full stack developer. You cannot ignore any part of a full stack development. You have to focus on UI. My dear friends, we all need success. You have to focus on UI. You have to focus on code programming. You have to focus on framework. You have to focus on database. You have to be completely determined so that you'll be experiencing the success in a matter of 2.5 months. Any questions? Please raise your hand. Okay. Okay, so let's proceed with self-closing tag. Let's proceed with self-closing tag. Anybody wants to talk to me with respect to understanding this self-closing tag? Please raise your hand. Is there anybody who is ready to talk to me? Is there anybody who is ready to talk to me with respect to discussion with respect to self-closing tag? Please raise your hand. Please look at this. Please have a look at this. This is the HTML code. This is the HTML code which we have written in our previous session. We have learned about list, unordered list, and all those stuff. Am I right? This is the HTML code. Am I right? Next point. Most of the tags are having beginning tags and ending tags. Have you observed? This is the HTML beginning tag, head, and this is the ending tag of head. How to identify ending tag? By using slash. Similarly, we have title tag beginning, title tag ending, H1 beginning, H1 ending, list item beginning, list item ending, ordered list beginning, ordered list ending. So you have most of the tags, you are having beginning tag and ending tag. There are some tags which are not having any ending tag. There are some tags which are not having any ending tags. Self-closing tag, can you see image tag? Are there any two tags? See, list item beginning is one tag, ending is one tag. So here, are we having only two tags? No, there's only one tag. This itself is a beginning tag, it itself is an ending tag. So these kind of tags, single tags, which will be considered as beginning as well as considered as ending, or called as self-closing tag. Participants are called as self-closing tag. The best example of the self-closing tag is an image tag. Am I right? Perfect. So let's discuss about today's self-closing tag. A self-closing tag is a kind of HTML tag which does not need any closing tag manually. Beginning tag, there is no exclusively closing tag. You don't need to close it manually by using the closing tag. Examples of self-closing tag is input tag. We have not used input tag. We'll be using it soon. Input tag is used to accept the value from the user. We have break tag, which will help the content to show it in the next line. Whatever we have expressed is image tag. Image tag is an example of self-closing tag. Okay, let me explain you the break tag. BR stands for break, which is used to insert a line break. It will break the line. When you want the content to be displayed in 2 lines, if you want the content to be displayed in 2 lines, let me show you with a simple example. Let me show you with a simple example. This is a HTML code. Let's open the HTML page. I don't want all this content. A simple HTML head, HTML body, end of HTML. This is Sunil. In the next line, welcome to Python full stack training. Whatever you write in the body will be shown to the user. I have written 2 lines in the body. This is Sunil as the line 1 and welcome to Python full stack training. So this is the content of the HTML page, participants. I want to run this HTML page. How do you run the HTML page? Select this particular HTML page, hello.html, right click. There's an option called open with, and you have to open with what? You have to obviously HTML files. You have to open it from the browser, Google Chrome. As expected, you are able to see this is Sunil. Welcome to full stack training. So what is the important point of observation? By default, the content will be shown in 1 line. By default, the content will be shown in 1 line. Even though you write the content in 2 lines here, it does not matter. The complete information is published in 1 single line. I don't want to publish in 1 single line. I don't want to publish in 1 single line. Okay, I want to break it into multiple lines. So you have to use break tag. So after this is Sunil, you want to break, right? So use BR stands for break tag. Break tag will break the line. Even it will break the line. So even though you write it in single line, it will break it. The break tag will break it. Whether you are writing it in single line or you don't write it in single line, it will break it. You can see. So break tag is used to break the line. If I include one more break tag after full stack, if I write one more break tag, this will break that line and the training will be shown in next line. So break tag is used to break the lines. And the reason I'm discussing break tag is it's a self-closing tag. There is no beginning tag of break, there's no ending tag, it's 1 single tag. These are called as self-closing tags, image tags, break tag. These are called as self-closing tag. We have one more tag called as input tag. Anyways, we'll be seeing it soon. So these are called as self-closing tags. So some tags will have exclusively beginning tag and closing tag or ending tag. Some tags will itself are called as self-closing tag. Next. Next. Anchor tag, very frequently used, my dear friends. Anchor tag, very frequently used. Yes, Lokesh, good morning. What's your question, please?
Good morning, Sunil.
We can hear you. Your question, please.
Yeah, Sunil. I would like to know about that. Yesterday, you explained about regarding the paragraph tag as well. So,
Correct.
is there any particular difference between the break tag and the this?
Paragraph tag.
Yes, yeah.
Generally, break tag is to divide 1 line. Okay, 1 line. If you want to split it into multiple lines, in such case, we go for break tag. Paragraph is a group of lines. So group of lines, you want to make it as 1 paragraph. In such case, we have paragraph tag. Okay.
Okay, Sunil.
Okay. When you're dealing with just 1 line or couple of lines, we use break tag. When you want to, when you're dealing with more number of content and you want to group lines, then we go for paragraph tag. That's it. But both behave something similarly. Okay, Lokesh?
Okay, Sunil. Thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Next. Any questions? You are please raise your hand. You will be allowed to unmute. Anchor tag, very important. Very important. Interesting thing is anchor tag. Anchor tag is used to define hyperlink. Anchor tag is used to define or used to create a hyperlink. What's the purpose of the hyperlink? The purpose of the hyperlink is to link from one page to other page. Sometimes you'll find some web pages. Sometimes you'll find some web pages, something like click here to go to next page. Are understanding something like you'll have previous page here. Sometimes you'll have previous page. Sometimes you'll have previous page option here. Sometimes you'll have next page option here. Sometimes you will, when you click on a link, you will be directed to next page. How to establish that link? Is there any link created? Is there any link? Can I click this? Anything happens? Nothing, because you are not created any link. You can create a link. When you click on this link, you can direct to a different page. You can even direct to a particular different website also. When you want to create links, then you have to go for anchor tag. Anchor tag purpose is to create the links, my dear friends. Let's proceed. The most important attribute, tags will have attributes. We already have discussed in the previous session. The most important attribute is href attribute, hypertext reference attribute. Href stands for hypertext reference attribute. So how to use this anchor tag? Look at the step-by-step process. Look at the step-by-step process. Let me include this line. For flight ticket booking, click here. Let me include this line. I want to include it in the same page. I'm including this. Let me include a break tag. I want to have it in a new line. I just included for flight ticket bookings. Click here is the content what I have written it. I've saved it. Now I refresh the page. Refresh the page. For flight ticket booking, click here. The moment you write click here, do you think it will be clickable? No, right? It is a normal content like booking, like flight tickets, like Sunil. This is a normal content, but this you want it to be clickable. If you want this particular letter to be clickable, these two words, click here. These are the two words. You have to include it in anchor tag. When you include these two words in the anchor tag, those two words will become clickable links. Those two words will become clickable links. So I go to this click here and I include this click here in anchor tag. Observe here, this is the beginning of the anchor tag. And this is the ending of the anchor. What is the importance, my dear friends? What is the impact when you include this in the anchor tag? Now refresh, please observe the difference. Refresh. Did I save it? Did I save it? Yes, I have saved it. And after including it in the anchor tag, did you find any difference? There is no difference. Participants, just including the anchor tag, it will not be clickable. The most important attribute is href attribute, hypertext reference. I'll be using that attribute. In the anchor tag, I will be using that href attribute. My dear friends, you have to practice all this. If you're serious, please practice. So what attribute I'm using? I'm using href attribute. What is the impact when you use href attribute? Refresh the page. What is the impact? Please observe the refresh the page. Now, is there any observation have you observed? There's something called underline. Did you create underline? No, I have not created underline. This is the impact of href attribute. Not only that impact of href attribute, when you keep your cursor, when you keep the cursor on click here, the cursor icon changes. This is the, see here, the icon changes. Yes. Are you getting a hand symbol? Hand symbol is nothing but clickable option. If you click on this Python, are you getting hand symbol? No, because it is not anchor tag. As you have included the words in the anchor tag with the href attribute, it will be changed to hand symbol. It will be changed to the hand symbol. Hand symbol, end user can understand. Okay, I can click here. End user can understand, I can click here. So when you click here, what will happen? So I have shown you how to create a clickable link. But when you click here, what will happen? Please observe, I'm clicking it. Is anything happening? Nothing happens. Nothing happens. If you click here, nothing happens because you have not mentioned what to happen. We have just created a clickable link, that's all. But when a link is clicked, what should happen? We have not defined it. We have not defined it. So let's continue defining it in the next step. In the the href attribute, you have to mention the URL. I want to visit to a particular website. I want to redirect to a particular website. What is the website? I want to redirect to any website whichever you want. I want to redirect it to spicejet.com. So there's a website called spicejet.com. I want to redirect it to this particular website, my dear friends. I want to redirect to this particular website. So this is the link I'm showing you from the address bar. I'm the address bar copying the link, and this link where I have to use it, copy. Where I have to use it, I have to use it in the href attribute. So go to HTML page. In the anchor tag, you have to write equal to, and you have to mention the attribute. My dear friends, what is the option I have used? Look at this. Href. That means when you click on this option, you will be directed to SpiceJet website. It will be directed to SpiceJet website. Okay. Now, it's always good to use double quotes. The URL, it is always good to use double quote. Let me refresh the page. Let me refresh the page. And then when I click here, observe what happens, my dear friends. When I click here, what should happen? What should happen? At the bottom, you have to observe. At the bottom, you have to observe here. My dear friends, please observe. The moment I keep my cursor here and the click here, observe in the bottom. Can you see what is it showing you? It is showing spicejet.com. This spicejet.com is I have mentioned in the href attribute. So when I click here, it will be directed to the SpiceJet website. Observe here, it is directed to SpiceJet website. If I go back again, I'm going back to my HTML page. So we have learned, my dear friends, please respond in the chat box. Am I clear in showing you how to create a hyperlink? Am I clear in showing you how to create a hyperlink? Super. So we have learned how can we create a hyperlink and how can we use a href attribute? How can we use a href attribute? Perfect. How can we use a href attribute to redirect? Next. And the good coding convention, the good naming convention is that the href attribute, you have to enclose it in double quotes. This is good that you have to enclose it inside double quote. That's a good practice. Okay. So perfect. Refresh. Now you will be directed to SpiceJet website. Super. You are now getting directed to SpiceJet website. So this is how you have to create a hyperlinks. Next. Next. Table tag. Whenever you want to show the information in the form of a table, many times with many websites, we will get the information in the form of table. Many websites will get the information in the form of tables. So allows the web developers to arrange the data in the form of rows and columns. Whenever you want to present the information in the rows and columns, you got to create a table. Few important tags related to table. You have to use a table tag to create a table. And their first row will be headings. First row will be headings, isn't it? For example, you want to create some table, but if you want to create a simple, first there will be special, right? It will be something like not the data, it's the headings, employee number, employee name, salary, these are all headings. So first row should be heading. So you have for headings, you have to use T head, stands for heading. And T head, this is for heading row. For heading row, first you have to create heading row, and then you have to create column. This is heading column. Okay, and then table data. Table data is actual data. Okay, clear? Clear about this. Perfect. Okay, let's learn how to create a table. Let us learn how to create a table. Let us learn how to create a table. Look at this. Look at this. I am including the table, the same HTML page. Okay. So after flight ticket booking here, I'll include one more break. Okay. And I'm including the table tag. I have included table tag. Let me show this. Participants, this is the beginning of the table tag, and this is the ending of the table tag. Okay, this is the beginning of the table tag and ending of the table tag. Our table tag is having how many rows? Our table tag is having how many rows? TR stands for table row. So this is row 1. This is row 2. And this is row 3. Our table is having how many rows? 3 rows. Let me refresh the page. Let us check are the table is having 3 rows. Is our table is having 3 rows. Are the table is having 3 rows. This is one row, company name, contact person, country, which country the company is. One more company name, the contact person and the country. You may have questions, Sunil. Our table is having 3 rows. Yes, even the heading is also considered as row, my dear friends. By default, the heading will be shown in bold color. Are you getting? Company, contact, country. So this is also considered as one row. The only difference is first row is headings. Total, we have 3 rows. Even this is also considered as row. So if you look at the code, look at the table code. This is the beginning of the tag. This is also TR stands for table row. This is also row. Second row, third row. Out of these 3 rows, the first row is TH stands for heading, table heading. TD for data. By default, the table heading will be shown in bold color. Company, contact, country. So they are shown in bold color. And this is the table data. Whenever you want to present the information, whenever you want to present the information, whenever you want to present the information in the form of rows and columns, you have to create a table. You have to create a table. Table looks more beautiful. Our table is one more point. How many rows? Our table is having 3 rows. Heading is also considered as a row. The only difference is for heading, you have to use TH. That's all. Next point. Table looks very beautiful when there is a border. Is there any borders here? There is no borders. Okay. It's always good to apply border to the table. How to apply border to the table? By using the border attribute. So in this particular table tag, this is the table tag. Use the attribute called border and apply the border as 1. What is I'm applying a border? Previously, table is not having border. Now I am applying the border. Refresh. My dear friends, are you getting the border? Correct. So these are attributes. Table is a tag. After giving a space, whatever you write it, that is called attribute. Attribute. I already have discussed about attribute in the previous example. Anchor is a tag. Href is an attribute. Table is a tag and border is an attribute. I provided 1. So the more the number, the bigger the border is. Let's say if you provide the border as 10, the bigger the border is. Now the bigger the border. Clear? Clear about this? Perfect. So table looks very beautiful when you apply the border. Correct. Any questions? Most important tag, whatever we have learned, all these are, you cannot ignore any point. Every point is very, very important. So we have learned about self-closing tag. We have learned about anchor tag for creating hyperlinks. We have learned about table tag to represent the information in the form of rows and columns. Good morning, Sneha. Hello, Sneha.
Yeah, Sunil. So, in this full stack development track, how often a full stack developer needs to work on UI side? Because companies do have UI UX designers. So, I have this question.
Companies will have exclusively UI and UX designer. Okay.
Yeah.
70% you'll be working on Python as well as Django framework.
Okay.
But sometimes you need to also communicate to UX and UI designer. So when you want to communicate UX and UI designer, having understanding on UI technologies will add value. Agree? Is it, Sneha?
Yes,
So
I
that it will be
agree.
easy for coordination and communication. Okay.
Okay.
70% will be core Python and Django framework. Approximately 15% to 20%. Sometimes you want to, before showing it to the client, before giving the application to the exclusively UI, to basic level, you will be involved into UI development. Okay. So in
Okay.
such case, this knowledge will be very helpful for you.
Yeah. Also, like in our table, if we want to add different colors or we want to bold values of some of the text,
Correct.
how can we do
Correct.
that?
You want to apply some colors. Okay. For example, heading, you want to show it in green color. Agree,
Yes.
Sneha?
Yes.
Okay. So, or some content you want to highlight in red color. That is called styling. That is the next part. HTML
Okay.
looks very beautiful when you apply styling. Styling is nothing but cascading style sheets. That will be our continuations. You can say style sheets will help you will help you to apply the colors, making the content more beautiful.
Okay. Yeah. So, I mean, one more question, like, is there any relevance that we should first learn a UI and then go the way you have designed this course,
Correct.
or we can
Yes, there is a
learn?
relevance because
Okay.
the relevance is Sneha. What is the first step?
UI,
Step one, we are learning UI. What will be the second step?
Python,
Correct. Tell me what is third step?
Django framework.
Correct. When we are learning Django framework, which code we will be using in the framework? We'll be using Python
Python.
code.
Yes.
So when you learn Python, that will be fresh in your mind. I don't want to give a break after Python again. I don't want to go back to UI. Okay, the
Yes. Yes.
Python concepts will be very fresh so that I can immediately use those Python concepts, whatever we have recently learned in Django framework.
Yeah. I mean, I
Agree?
have learned Python from you and as well as AWS and DevOps.
Okay,
So,
okay, good,
yeah.
good. Mhm. Okay,
Okay.
okay,
Yeah.
Sneha, thank
Thanks
you,
for explaining. Yeah.
thank you. Perfect. So we have learned about table tag. Now, the next tag, what we are learning is input tag. The next tag, what we are learning is input tag. What is the purpose of the input tag? Whenever you want to accept the value from the user, whenever you want to accept the value from the user, for example, in the contact us form, you will be submitting your name, your contact number, agree or not, and your message, whatever it is. For accepting the value, we will be using input tag. We'll be using input tag. Let's learn more about it. Let's learn more about the input tag. Generally, input tag is used with the form. Input tag is used inside the form, but I'm not showing you form now. I'll be showing form in our coming classes. Within the form, like contact us form or registration form. Am I right, my dear friends? In most of these forms, we will be accepting the values from the user. Within the form, to collect the values from the end user, we use what tag? Input tag. Input tag will play a very important role in the form creation because form is all about collecting the information from the users, from the end users, from the visitors of the web application. So form input tag is used inside the form. Let us show how to create an input tag. This is the syntax of the input tag. This is the syntax of the input tag. This is the input tag. Type is one attribute, name is one attribute, and value is one attribute. How many attributes you are experiencing? Okay. How many attributes you are experiencing? You are experiencing three attributes. Type is an attribute, name is an attribute, and value is an attribute. Okay, clear? Perfect. Now, value is an attribute, placeholder is an attribute. Let me show you the example of an input tag. So what are attributes you are having? There are a lot of attributes we are having. I am using type attribute in this example, name attribute I am using in the example, placeholder attribute I am using in this example. Okay, let me create this input tag, use this input tag. I don't want to use paragraph tag, so let me open the HTML page. I don't want all this. I don't want border. I don't want table. I don't want flight ticket. Click here. I don't want all this content. Let me create. Let me delete this HTML code. Okay. There is nothing inside the body. Now I will be using. I'll not use P. P stands for paragraph. I don't want to use paragraph tag also. Save. In this, whatever we write it in the body, that will be shown to the user. I am just using input tag. What type of input tag? The input type is text. First, let's see the output, how it looks like. Refresh the HTML page. This is how the input tag looks like, participants. You will find this kind of input tag when you're submitting some information in the contact us page or registration page, where the end user can write his some information in the input tag. Whenever you want to accept the value from the user, we have to use input tag. Next, in the background, we are getting something like enter name, right? In the background, okay, if you don't write anything, it is asking enter name. So how are you getting that enter name? That is called placeholder. Placeholder is a hint message. Is a hint message that end user can understand. Okay, he should enter the name here. Whatever you write it in the placeholder, that will be displayed. So if you write enter city will be displayed. Placeholder is optional. If you don't use placeholder attribute, placeholder is optional. It's not compulsory that you have to use placeholder attribute. This is without placeholder, nothing, an empty text. Clear? Clear about this? This is how, participants, this is how to accept the value from the user. This is how to accept the value from the user. Correct. Next. This input tag is having a name, unique identification. Name can be username, name, like every input. There in a form there could be multiple input tags, right? In a form there could be multiple input tags. You will have first input tag as your name, your email address, your contact number. So it's always good to identify every field with a name. So this is how you have to write it. Every input tag will have a name. Okay, next. I want some information. Just a blind field will not be meaningful. I should give some information to the user that he should enter the name. So what I will do, I will use a paragraph tag. Before the input tag, I'll be using a paragraph tag. When you use the paragraph tag, this looks more better because he'll understand, okay, enter name, okay, I will enter the name. Okay, I can also use again one more paragraph tag. Enter contact. Name can be anything. Name can be something like serial was. This should be meaningful, right? So did I say this? Okay. I have to save it in the HTML page. One more paragraph with one more input field. So how many input fields I have used? 2 input fields. So that could be meaningful. Okay. He'll understand. Okay, here I have to enter name, and here I have to enter contact number. This is what tag, my dear friends? This is the paragraph tag. Okay, and this is the input tag. Super. But both are completely independent. The paragraph tag is completely independent. Input tag is completely. Is there any relation between these two? No, completely independent. That is not good coding practice. Both should be related to each other. This contact enter contact number should be related to this input tag. You have to bind the this value to this value. So we should not use paragraph tag. Paragraph tag is used to show some paragraph. It is not used to give some information related to input tag. So this is not the right practice. So you have to provide labels to the fields. These are the fields, right? And you have to provide labels to the fields. Look at this. In this case, there is no relation between the text box and paragraph. This is not good coding practice. Text box is different and the paragraph is different. There is no relation between each other. So we should not use this way. Hence, labels are used. Hence, labels are used. Okay. So instead of paragraph tag, you have to use labels. You have to use labels. Okay. Now, this is the right way of developing the user interface. There is one label tag. Let me not use the label tag. Let me remove the label tag. This is only just an input tag. It's always good to provide to label so that if you end user can understand whether I should enter the name or not. If you don't use placeholder, assuming that you're not using placeholder. Now, end user will not understand, should I enter name or should I enter a email address or should I enter contact number? You have to provide a label to it. If you want to provide a label to this particular field, you have to use a label tag. Now, this particular input tag is having how many attributes? Name attribute, text attribute. Name input, we have name, we have ID attribute, we have type attribute and name attribute. There are three attributes. There are three attributes. Let me first explain about the type attribute. There are different types of inputs, my friends. Text is used to accept the text input. Input type equal to checkbox is there if you want to create a checkbox. Input type equal to submit is there if you want to create a button. I'm changing it to submit. What's happening? Button. It is converted to button. So there are different types of inputs. So if you write type equal to text, it is used for accepting the text input from the user. Correct. So there are different types of input. Anyways, when we learn about forms, we'll learn in detail. We will learn in detail. There is a unique name, very good. It's always good to unique name. The new thing here I want to tell you is that I have used ID. ID is for linking to the label. ID can be anything, my dear friends, but this ID will be helpful for linking to the label. For example, ID, I'm writing it as something like ABCD. It can be anything, you will not get any error. ID for this particular input is ABCD. Now, what is the use of ID? This input tag, this ID is used for label tag. Now I'm going to label tag. Label for, you have to provide the ID. What is the ID for the input tag? ABCD. So you have to use label for ABCD. Label for ABCD is enter name. So for this particular field, label is enter name. This is the right binding. This is the right binding. Now, both the label and the input tag are binded to each other. Now, this is called right binding. So you have to use label for these kind of labels. Don't use paragraphs. You have to use or headings or H1, H2. You have to use labels, and labels where you have to use for attribute and you have to use ID of that particular field. You have to use ID for that particular input field. Yes, Iqbal, how are you doing? You are now allowed. Yes,
Hi, sir.
Yes, your question.
Can you listen to me, sir?
I can hear you. Please proceed.
Hello.
I can hear you, Iqbal. Please proceed.
Hello.
Looks like you are having some internet connection problem. Please check your headphones. Perfect. So this is how to create an input tag. Next. Very important point. So label attribute, very important point, as I just told you. The for attribute for label must be equal to the IT attribute of the related element. Very, very important point. This is very, very important. Next. Division tag, very important. What is division tag? What is the division tag? Look at this. The purpose of the division tag, div stands for division tag, will create a division in the HTML document. It creates a division in the HTML document. Next question that comes to your mind, Sunil, why should we create a division? To group the tags into single unit. You have some set of tags, H1, H2, H3. All this you want to make it a single unit, so that you can apply the style sheet. The main purpose of the division tag is to apply the style sheet. Look at the example. Try to understand this example, because we'll again discuss about style sheets in detail later. Can you hear me, Iqbal? You are now allowed to unmute. Okay. Point number 1. Don't worry, just try to understand this example. I am creating style sheet, step 1. You may have questions, Sunil, you have not explained about the style sheet. I'll explain later. Okay, this example is I'm taking you to explain you the division tag. Step 1, I'm creating style sheet. First point, style sheets are nothing but extension.css. Style sheets are nothing but files with extension.css. Style sheets are nothing but files with extension.css. Style sheet name can be anything. I'm writing it as xyz.css. Let me create the style sheet. I open a new notepad. So this is my style sheet. This is my style sheet. And I save this in which location? In the same location in E drive 11A is D drive 11 AM examples. What should be the file extension? File extension should be CSS. File name can be anything. I'm writing it as xyz.css. Style sheet created. Yes, I'm done with creating the style sheet. Where can you see the style sheet? You can see the style sheet I have created. You can see, go to the folder. In 11 AM examples folder, this is the style sheet I have created. My Windows operating system is also detected that it is cascading style sheet. Yes, this is a style sheet. So what is the new thing you have learned? Style sheets are nothing but a file with extension.css. In the style sheet, I have applied a style. Style is nothing but assume that color. Sneha, you asked me how to apply color or something like that. Yes, I have. Style is assume that I have color. What color I have applied? I have applied color as red. I mentioned color as red. But the point is, you have applied color red to which tag? You have applied to heading tag, H1. Are you understanding my difference? I have applied a color. What color I have applied, Sneha?
Yes, Sunil, I can see. Thank
Which
you.
color I have applied?
A red color.
To which tag I have applied?
Heading.
H1. Okay,
H1,
we have a
yes.
lot of heading tags like H1, H2, H3, H6 also.
Yes, yes.
So we have applied to H1 tag. Correct. This is about style sheet. Okay, leave this aside. Next. Sneha, if you look at the HTML body, how many
Yes.
tags we have used? H1, H2, H3,
H3,
and H2 as well as H1.
yes.
How many times I have used H1? Two
2
times.
times.
First time as well as last time. Last line. Refresh the HTML page. Are you getting the headings? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines. First
Yes.
line is H1. Second line is all. Last line is also H1.
H1,
Okay.
yeah.
Yes. But we have mentioned style as
Eh,
for H1.
Color
For
red.
H1, we have mentioned color. The color red should be applied, right, Sneha? As per the logic.
Yeah, but
What
we have not
done? Linking. We have
linked
not
it.
linked it. These two are independent files. The CSS file and HTML file, both are independent files. Now what you have to do, you have to link it. How do you link it? We have to link it.
Yes.
We have to link it by using the link tag.
Okay.
By using the link tag. Where should we link it? HTML is having two sections. One is HTML head, the other one is HTML body, right? You can see
Yes.
this is HTML head and we have to use HTML body. Linking happens at the head part. Linking happens at the head part. I go to HTML head. What tag I will be using? I'll be using a link tag. Link, what I'm linking? XYZ dot CSS. Rel stands for relation. I'm linking the style sheet, right? You can link style sheet. You can also link JavaScript. It's up to you. But what I have done, I have established relationship between the CSS file and the HTML page. Now both are linked with each other. Now when you click fresh, is the style applied, Sneha? Yes.
Yes.
Why the style applied 2 times, first line and last line?
Because they are same heading H1.
It is in H1. If I use H1 10 times, wherever H1 is applied, that style is applied because in the CSS file, I have defined styling for my H1.
Yes.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you. So my dear friends, I hope it is a very meaningful example just to show you the new things, very important things to learn. You have learned how to create a style sheet and you have learned how can we link the style sheet to the CSS. Now, I want red color to be applied. Participants, I want red color to be applied not only to the H1 tag, I want not only to the first line, last line, I want to apply to H2, H3 also. So to this group of lines, how many lines? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For all these lines, I want to apply the style. So what you can do, participants, group and make it as one unit by using division tag. All these lines, I want to make it as one unit, as one group by creating a division, by using division tag. This is the beginning of the division tag, and this is the end of the division. Participants, I have made it as one division. After making it as one division, now what I will do? I changed to a style sheet, Sneha. Previously, the style sheet I have applied for which
Yeah,
tag?
it was for
H1 tag.
H1
Now I apply for
division.
division tag. To the entire division, color red will be applied. To the entire division, the color red will be applied. So look at this is the division, right? The entire division, the color red will be applied.
So,
Refresh.
Sunil, if we create a table inside a division,
That's
it
it.
will be applied to
I'll give
entire
a simple
table.
example. Look at this. In this division, P stands for paragraph, right?
Okay.
So what I'm doing, I'm including a paragraph.
Paragraph.
Did I apply style to the paragraph? No, I have applied only style to the division tag. But this is part of paragraph. Paragraph is also part of division. Now is the paragraph shown in red color? Correct.
Yes.
If you include table also, table will be shown in red color. What you have done, you have applied styling to the division.
Yes.
So that is the purpose of division tag. Go back to theory.
Okay.
Go back to theory. Group of tags.
Right.
H1 tag, H2 tag, H3 tag, and paragraph tag. I have made it as one unit for division. What is the purpose of the division? Go back to theory. The purpose of the div tag is used to create a division in one HTML page to make group of tags as one unit so that we can apply style sheet. The purpose is to apply, assuming division concept is not there, what you have to do, you have to apply styling for H1, H2, H3, P for all each and individual tag. Instead, make it as one unit by creating a division and apply style to the division tag. Clear, Sneha?
Yes, yes. I mean,
Perfect.
I have one more question.
Yes.
Like, suppose we have a grading system and we want to apply color based on grade. Like,
Great. That means you want based on conditions.
yeah. So
We will see that how it can
Okay.
happen. We'll see
Yeah.
in coming classes. Perfect. Perfect. So this is the purpose of the division tag. What is the new thing we have learned? The new thing what we have learned is CSS file. CSS file is for styling purpose to make the HTML more beautiful. Assuming styling is not there, everything will be shown in black and white. If you want HTML to be, if you want the outputs to be more beautiful, you have to go for styling. You have to go for a CSS file. I have created a CSS file. Every CSS file is nothing but file with extension, file extension dot CSS, not just creating a CSS file. I have linked the CSS file to the HTML page. Superb. How did I link the CSS file to the HTML page? By using the link tag. And where we have to use link tag? My dear friends, where we have to use link tag? It is part of HTML head. So I have, in the beginning class, I have told you that head is used for creating titles and establishing links to the style sheets, defining orders and all those stuff. So that's how the CSS files are linked to the HTML pages. Clear? Any questions? The most important point what you have learned in today's session is hyperlink, division tag, creating a style sheet, linking the style sheet to the HTML page. Anyways, we'll repeat it again, but you have experienced the taste of CSS. You have experienced the taste of CSS. Clear? Clear about this? Any questions? What is our plan for tomorrow? What is our plan for tomorrow? Our plan for tomorrow's session is to learn more about forms. I get into forms. Okay, we'll more get into detailed concepts of day by day the complexity increases. You cannot ignore each and every talk. You cannot ignore because these are simple. Looks to be simple, but only when you do hands-on, it will be permanently remembered. Otherwise, we immediately ask you, okay, so how to create hyperlink? Generally, we think the link tag. It's not link tag, it's anchor tag for creating hyperlinks. Okay. So this is very, very important. Any questions? Charles, how are you doing?
Okay,
Yeah,
thank
sir.
you.
Your location.
United States.
Okay. So how is today's session, Charles?
It's looking very good.
Thank you very much. Please practice.
In your Python training, are you going to go over all the classes and functions that you did the last time? Or this is going to be a separate, you're going to be discussing strictly Python modules?
No, we'll be starting from the scratch, Charles, like last time. Okay.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yes,
Thank you.
right from the beginning. Super. Enjoy learning. Ashif, how are you doing?
Good, sir. Good, sir. How are you, sir?
I'm doing well. Your question.
My question to you is that, sir, input tag, right? There is two attributes. First is you told that ID and name. Okay.
Correct.
So ID that you are linking with label.
Let me go to it. example.
Yes. Yes, sir. This one.
1 minute.
Okay.
We have input and label. So look at the output. This is label. This is the input field. Am I right? Yes. Now
Yes,
your
yes.
question.
My question is that, sir, what's the difference with between this ID and name attribute?
Okay.
Because you told that name is everywhere used and ID also
Correct.
you are linking.
Correct.
Yes.
The main purpose of ID is to link it to label. That's the main purpose of ID. Okay.
Okay.
Whenever you want to link it to label, then go for ID. Assuming label is not there, then you don't need
Yes.
to use ID. You can directly use without label, without ID. Okay. So ID is mainly purpose is for linking to label tag. Okay, that's first one.
Okay.
Now coming to your question, what's the use of name, Sunil? What way should we use username? Now, whenever an end user enters some information, you want us to catch that value into variable. Okay, in such case, you have to use name to accept the value into a variable. We'll be using this name and we will be using username to receive the value what the end user insert. Okay, got it?
Yes, I got it. My another question is like this: what if two input tag has same name? Is it
Then
possible?
it is not correct. That is not valid. You are not a good programmer. You have to follow a
In
different
any
naming.
case, it should be unique, right?
It should be unique. Yes, you are right.
Okay, sir. Thanks. Thank you so much.
Lokesh. Good morning, Lokesh. How is today's class?
It was good, Sunil. Day by day, we are going to learn a new things
More
here.
and more concepts.
Exactly. So here my question is that when we are using the link tag here in the code itself, so how about that we just use that href to in the link tag actually. So
No.
when we use the anchor tag here, then only
No,
we
1 minute, 1 minute.
Mhm.
Link tag is used for what?
to linking the CSS to HTML.
Okay, you're talking about, okay. 1 minute. This is your question, right?
Yes, Sunil, exactly.
Yes. So link tag is used to link the CSS file to the HTML. Now, what's your question?
So my question is here, what is the use of href attribute here? Because we're using an anchor tag and I mean anchor tag and href for hyperlink.
href attribute is used for two tags. One is the anchor tag, the other one is link tag.
Okay.
Okay, when you use it in anchor tag, it will be redirected to the value what you have mentioned. Okay, when you use it in link tag, it is actually a CSS file which you are linking. Okay, so in which context you are using href attribute makes the difference. Got it? If you use href in link tag, that means you are linking the CSS file. Got it?
Okay. Got it, Sunil.
The
Because I thought of that using of href is for referencing that we are tagging that CSS to this
correct.
sheet.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gotcha.
But here,
Yeah.
this href is referring to style sheet.
Style
You
sheet,
have
yes.
mentioned here.
Yes, Sunil,
relation
yeah.
is style sheet. So that means
Yes.
it is referring to style sheet. Okay.
Yes, got you.
So in which tag you are using href makes the difference. Okay. Got
Yes,
it?
yes.
Thank you. My dear friends, I hope you have enjoyed the session. Day by day, it will be very meaningful and more interactive and more knowledgeful. See you tomorrow for much more learning on HTML. Have a good time.